Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Stransky Company Real Estate Podcast. We're keeping it real estate today. Here with Dana Glace, Matt Stransky, Randy Hambright.
What's up?
Give it up, guys. So today, we're getting into the real estate market coming out of 2023, going into 2024. It's been tepid and a bit of a mess for a lot of people on the outside, hearing a million different things at once about, oh, the world's going to end tomorrow, and then it's like, no, the interest rates are going to go down, come up, come down, come up. So why would you buy a house? Should you buy a house at all?
Would you buy a house in 2024?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the real reason for it, I think, is lack of competition. You have less buyers out there right now looking. The real advantage is the low interest rates. Or excuse me, the higher interest rates. The higher interest rates are what is causing the lower competition. Right now we have home buyers that are spending less physical cash to actually purchase the home. For example, let's say your payment went up $500. That sucks, right? You're paying an additional $6,000 annually. That sucks. That same house, when interest rates were at 2 or 3%, likely you're going to have to spend $60,000 or $70,000 over the asking price. So in reality, the question is, would you rather finance those terms over the next 10 years with likely the ability to refinance when interest rates do drop? Or would you like to pay that $60,000 or $70,000 up front just to save $6,000 annually? And I think our buyers right now are definitely enjoying the latter, right? It's a great time to buy a house.
What do you think?
It is a great time to buy a house. It can be a tough time to buy a house, which if you're planning to buy a house in the next 2 or 3 years, it's time to get in the market now. I mean, you need to get connected with a great lender. You need to understand where the interest rates are, what you can afford. So even if it went down by a point, well, that's not going to make all the difference in the world. Where are you going to be at that point? Then pinpointing what cities, what areas you're willing to live in, what to expect affordability-wise versus other,
You said now. Why now? Why would I go now? Aren't interest rates going to come down? I feel like house prices inflated like crazy over COVID. That should come down too, shouldn't it?
Well, the only way to really know what's happening in the real estate market is to get involved, get your pre-approval, and then watch what happens as inventory continues to hit the market. And you can watch, well, if we were going to buy a house in Royal Oak at $300, this is what we can expect to get. This is about how many houses hit the market every month, and, kind of go from there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, kind of piggybacking off what he's saying is, I think you got to be in it to really have the right information, right?
Yep.
So there's so much misinformation out there, and some is good and some is bad, and probably 3% of it is true, right? So, connecting with those experts. And, as you start to look, right, as Randy is saying, right, you're going to see some really unique things, right? You're going to see homes that have been listed for 60 days, 70 days, right, on the market. You're going to see inventory has actually trickled up a little bit, right? So when you actually get in the game, you're going to see a different landscape than, what you're being told, right? So, yeah, I think, jump in and start getting some knowledge for sure.
Jump in. Is that call a lender? Call my bank?
Good question. So I think for every person, right, it's individual, right? So if I was going to purchase a home in 2024, what would I be doing right now to get ready? The first thing is I'm going to check my credit, right? I'm going to go to Credit Karma or, one of these free ones, right? Pull it, get an idea. Most people are usually pretty specific on what they have. And then depending on your resources, right? If you have a lender, a friend, a past lender that was successful for you, right? You like them, you love them, you trust them. That's your first phone call. Like Randy said, that way it really gives you the idea of what's affordable, right? What do these increases in interest rates really look like for your buying power, right? And then secondly, if you do have that lender resource, is calling a realtor you like and love, right? You trust. If you don't have a lender, then reality is if you have that realtor, it's a great place to go. Obviously, they probably got some really good resources for you, people that they've vetted through the years. Once that component of what you can afford is in place, the realtor is now going to connect you specifically to your needs, right? It's going to be the type of house you're looking for, the area, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the square footage, the style. Are you willing to do work or are you not wanting to do work? I mean, the best agent is going to take you through a very deep needs analysis of what you want. And then through there, they're going to connect you with the right tools. Look, Zillow and Trulia and, HomeSnap and, all these things, they're great for consumers, right? Most people are going to run to those first, right? And it makes sense, right? But that realtor is going to empower you with the MLS. And the MLS is actually giving you the tools that us realtors use. And the benefit is that those types of things, Zillow of the world, they're national syndicates. So they're purging their information every 90 to 100 days, right? A lot of what you're looking on there doesn't even exist, right? So you're really spinning your wheels. The realtor dials it in with the MLS. The MLS is set up in real time, right? Anything that hits the market or comes off the market, you're seeing in real time. So they're empowering you with those tools, right? And then the last step, the fun step, after you strategize, right? After you really come up with this game plan with your realtor and your lender, is to actually just physically get out there, right? Start kicking down doors, driving the area, right? I always say, if you're not familiar with an area, don't go there at the best time. Drive by the schools and see what pickup looks like, right? Have some restaurants, right? Go taste the food, the culture, because every couple miles you go, right, you're going to get a different vibe. So that's a really good way to get started right there.
Okay.
Definitely getting out there and seeing houses. You need to see 10, 15 houses before you really have an understanding of an area and what you can afford and what to expect in those cities, and spatially and construction-wise, when they were built. Usually the trends go from city to city.
Totally. I mean, look at the Woodward Corridor. I mean, that's definitely one of our niches, right? And from Birmingham down to Ferndale, right? So just take Birmingham, Berkeley, Ferndale, and Royal Oak, 3 different price points, 3 different styles of homes. There's some similarity there, but they're different, right? Size, square footage, and surely price and amenities. And I mean, that's a 4-mile drive. So absolutely, get out there and see it. And then I think there's some reality too, right? That's checked in. You might have $1 million dreams and, a $400K budget. And now you're at a point where reality sets in a little bit, which is a good thing. That's a good thing, right? So as you start to see these houses and you want the indoor pool and you want the gymnasium and, all these things, we all are working within the confines of a budget. So getting out there and seeing those homes gives you the ability to actually, gauge really what these homes look like. And we'll be the first to tell you, digital photography, pretty amazing thing, right? I mean, some of the feedback that we get on our listings that, are a little lackluster.
We all hire great photographers, and they're great photographers, right?
Yes.
I mean, they're the best at what they do. So
they're able to cover up, the boo-boos.
And
you don't really.
I always say too, pictures. There's no smells in pictures. That's the first
Very
thing you
true.
notice when you show a house is what it smells like.
What's
Left one
a
today?
memorable smell situation on a showing for Randy and then Matt?
What's our rating here?
Yeah,
Well,
I'll keep
I
it
want
100.
your 10. I want your 10.
Dog shit. I mean, I've been in houses that the dog's doing the dance downstairs.
I'll do you one better, Matt.
Yeah.
So, a client of mine brought me to her sister's house, and the sister allowed her 10 cats just to pee anywhere they wanted.
Yeah.
This house was I could not breathe. Like, I took one in straight out. And I remember that one breath.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah.
I can if I
Just
think hard
tasted
enough.
it.
Oh
Because I
man,
can close my eyes and think of it.
Little
Yeah.
breakfast cat pee for you in the morning.
that was definitely the worst smell
That's
ever.
funny, dude. You're like, oh, I couldn't make it.
Yeah, I can't. Gosh, I mean, going back to mine, I can see it, man. Like going right in the. I
Mounds.
mean, and I'm not talking like a turd or two. I mean, I'm talking a couple months worth of some doo-doo. So yeah. Yeah. And hey, maybe that's a good thing, right? We'll
much of
put it
that
out there. Don't be that guy or girl.
How much of that are you sure was the dogs?
Ooh. I don't even want to think about that. How about that? So I'm going to say 100% it was the dog. And if it wasn't, man, I probably should have did what Randy did and got the heck out of there.
What's the coolest thing you ever saw, Matt?
Coolest thing I've ever saw. Obviously, really cool houses. I mean, I guess dreaming, right? The coolest thing for me is seeing houses that have these huge gym setups, turf rooms and basketball courts. I mean, I think about me and my 2 little boys and my wife, spending plenty of time there. So that's that for me. I mean, I'm not one into gizmos. I've seen a lot of houses, like I'm sure you have, retractable this and TVs popping out of places.
Yeah.
But I
The
love the
mirror
whole
is
gyms.
like your love handles have gained 7 centimeters this week.
Yeah. Yeah. Put your silhouette here.
The refrigerator tells you like you need milk.
Yep.
I've seen some Legos that would blow your mind, like entire Lego cities
Okay.
and like
Sick.
basements that like have thousands and thousands of dollars of Lego setups that are just, Lego people are deep, man. I've probably
cool.
seen 3 or 4 where I was like,
This is
I
amazing.
took a few minutes to just look at it.
Love
The,
it.
the guy's like, this is my real life right here.
Yeah.
One was like
have
an
a
entire
job.
Star Wars city. One, and
The Death
that was
Star.
cool.
That's awesome.
A bowling alley I saw in West Bloomfield.
Yeah.
That was pretty dope.
That's pretty cool.
I don't like
Yeah.
bowling, but
The thing is,
I do it.
I would have visited my house.
The thing
if I
is,
didn't have to go.
I'm drunk with the buddies. You guys want to go bowling? Oh, that sounds fun. Too bad we can't. We can't drive. We're all drunk.
Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah, it's right
downstairs
downstairs,
to my
boys.
basement bowling alley.
I love it. Yeah,
You
I've
know.
seen. I mean, and again now just thinking about. I mean, some of the gym setups and saunas and steam rooms. I need that. I like that. So yeah, I'm definitely impressed with that.
Well,
stuff.
how do you get it? How do you get it now? Because you said you gotta, if you want to be in and know what's up, you got to be in now. It's kind of
Sure.
the thing, or like have at least like a pre-approval, I guess, and talk to or be being sent houses or be looking
Get
at
connected
houses.
to the MLS for sure.
Which
you know,
is how do you do that?
Set up a
Can you do that?
specific search for what you're looking for. We set it up for you, and then anything that hits the market that fits that criteria goes straight into your email. You have a realtor's eye view of the market. Now, what you might find is, hey, the place I thought I wanted to live isn't where I wanted to live.
Sure.
And there are places where you can get more for your money in Metro Detroit, and that's true in any market.
Sure.
You'll get more
back
for
to
your,
what you said. I mean, every area has a different everything, a different price, a different school system, for sure. And to reiterate, I mean, I think you're asking when to get in, and if you're really thinking about buying in 2024, I would. I mean, I sound like a sales turd, but I would do it immediately. Because the feds have said, right, that they're going to cut interest rates 6 times, right? And, we'll see, right? But leading into an election, good, bad, and different, both sides, this side, all that, take that crap away. You're going to, right? I mean, you're going to squeeze the handles a little bit there. You already see it with gas. Gas is coming down, right? So if interest rates come down, we just really want buyers to understand that's not really a good thing, right? And for the people it's good for are the ones who have all the cash, right? A year ago when we were selling all these houses, that's what it was. It was who had the most money, right? And then it took a creative realtor to, get you this accepted offer, right? I'm sure we'll talk about that, somewhere down in the podcast. But, exercising escalation clauses and open-ended and gap coverage and, all of these big terms, right? But if you're really thinking about waiting until spring, I would challenge you. Just like Randy and you've said, right? Get your ducks in a row and get out there. And then if you do have to wait until spring, so be it. But if rates go down, it's not going to be good. We've already seen that. That's not a prediction. That's us living through it. And even as a realtor, it was more challenging. I love this market right now. The offers that we're competing with on a house, right? Your average house, our best listing, might only have 3 to 5 offers on it, right? I mean, when we were selling them a year ago, I mean, there were 20 offers on it, right? For our sellers, one of the hardest parts about being a listing agent at that time was actually taking all that information, boiling it down for our client to interpret, right? This was not just
Listing
these
agents were really overrun.
Crazy. There was so much more work to it, and don't feel bad for us, but you don't want to enter that market. And if you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of cash, I'm with you, number one. And then number two, get out there. Get out there quicker, because right now competition is low. Like I said, 3 to 5 offers says it all. You would rather be competing against that versus 20 or 30 offers. So, hop on it. As long as you really want to do it, get your things and ducks in a row. And it's never really been a better time. I mean, our buyers have been killing it for the last 6 months.
There's no way to control what specific house that's going to work for you, when it's going to hit the market, when you're going to win. So why miss any, right? It might take you a year.
Sure.
It might take you a year to find the market, and then you might make 2 or 3 offers. You don't get them.
Sure.
So what are you waiting for, right?
And what if it's the opposite, right? Because we sure have plenty of buyers that are like this. What if you're just prepared, the right one pops up,
Even better.
and you only looked at one, right? I mean, that happens, right? And the only way that really happens, though, is being prepared, right? I mean, how many folks call you, oh my gosh, this is my dream house, and no harm, no foul. This is all about the client, right? But at that time, they weren't ready, right? They weren't ready to get pre-approved. They, weren't ready.
Yeah.
They weren't ready.
That
Now
offer
they
has to go
are,
in right away.
and now, oh shit, right? It's, I've got to perform here in, less than 24 hours. And if it's that right house, it's probably the right house for someone too. If you jump that high, you're probably not the only one.
How many times have you heard, hey, I got plenty of money. I'm not worried about getting approved.
Mm-hmm.
Great. We're not questioning the fact whether you can afford it. But if you don't have the plan and everything in a row and on that piece of paper, and they're accepting offers, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And that's worth saying too, right? Like just on here, understanding everyone's not a realtor. In order to submit an offer, I can submit it without it, but if I'm the seller, without the pre-approval, without the bank giving me something that says income, assets, credit score, your full picture has been looked at, that offer is worthless.
Yeah.
So just like Randy is saying, now you're empowered yourself, right? You got all those steps taken care of. Now I can act. And I can act when the time is right, or I can, just like Randy said, sit back and, reminisce a little bit until that right one pops up. But then that way you're ready to go. The sophisticated person might say, how long is a good pre-approval worth? One, I'll submit it, right? I mean, one, just being able to have that damn thing. If it's 6 months and it expired a week ago, we're sending it, right? Now the conversation I'm having with that agent is much different. Hey, look, our pre-approval, it's out of date, right? We've been looking for the right house. Oh my gosh, your house is the right house. With our lender, right? Give us, 2 hours and I'll have this updated one. But that person is putting themselves into a position to give that offer, and that seller take them seriously.
So what do I need financially to be? Where do I need to be to be prepared? What should my what should I have in my pocket? What should my credit score be? I don't know why I was turning away from the microphone. I was just thinking because I'm like, well, if I'm gonna buy a house, I'm
He's in the market. Go ahead. You can say it. We know it, baby.
I'm running. I'm doing it all in my head. I'm thinking about where I should be at. So where should I be?
I'll let Randy go. What do you think?
Like credit score. How much money should I have?
Well, we definitely have programs that for people who have lower credit. I think the most important part is solid employment. The bank's going to want to know where you're working, how long you've been working there. Steady income. They're going to want to see a healthy balance in your checking account. Now, that healthy balance is going to have a lot to do with what kind of house you're looking at buying, right? And all that comes on the interest rate, and then they'll tell you, how much you can get approved for.
I'm a first time. I haven't bought a house yet.
First time home buyer.
And I should have what percentage down in my bank account?
Great question. To be direct about it, and it's what we said earlier. Everyone's situation is different. You could have low credit and all the cash in the world and a 401k that's fat, right? And you're going to be able to sneak in with someone who has great credit and no cash, right? So you really got to get specific with that lender. But to answer your question, put me on the spot, so to speak. FHA, remember those loans? Those weren't working a year ago. They are now. FHA loans, right? So you put 3.5% down, right?
What's an FHA for everyone who doesn't know?
FHA is basically a government-backed loan, right? The benefit is just that it requires a low down payment of 3.5%, right?
Has to be a first timer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. You can only use one of those, right? And then there's other conventional programs, right? I mean, I've seen some of my first. Yeah, I mean, it's probably been 3 or 4 months, but I've seen like my first 1% loans, right? I believe UWM actually has a thing going like that. Don't hold me to it. I'm not a lender. I just read a lot of the emails that I get sent. But at the end of the day, somewhere between realistically 3 and 10%, Dan, is what you can anticipate. Now, here's the biggest part that I think people miss. Cool, right? You can calculate that, right? If you're buying a $200,000 house at 3.5%, I'm sure my math is off, right?
7,000.
But 7,500, whatever. Okay, cool. So now I've got that. But the part that most people miss is there's closing costs that are associated with the loan. So not only do you need the down payment, you're also going to need to be able to finance those closing costs. What are those closing costs? Well, that's everything the lender is charging you, right? There's origination points. There's points to get you a certain interest rate. There's tax prorations, right? There's this myriad of things. And going back to the first advice, sitting down with that lender, they should give you a good faith estimate, right? They should walk you through all of these costs. Okay. So somewhere between 3 and 10%, Dan, is pretty likely. And that's not even for the first time home buyer. That's for, a veteran home buyer. So,
Okay.
yeah. We doing it? You
Is
ready?
there anywhere that you guys see in the market, or I mean, that even if you don't see, if you heard about in the market, that there is to get a better deal, or to not a better deal, cheaper house. You don't necessarily want that, but something where. So what I'm hearing right now is if I'm getting into the market and I want a $500,000 house with all the fixings and nice basement, 4 bedrooms, the whole thing, that a good way for me to try and get there would be to buy something soon that appreciates quickly.
Sure.
Because it seems like that's what's happening.
Sure. So
Do you see, am I wrong in saying that?
I think you're wrong.
Okay, good.
And, time will tell. Real estate is becoming what real estate always has been, a long-term asset. Only, God, I mean, how long did I flip out? Only in the last decade has real estate just went crazy, right? I mean, you'd buy a house, and that following year, you'd have 20% more equity than you did before. Not the case, right? Even before we came out here, right? I think it was less than 3% appreciation in all of Oakland County, right? So there it goes. I think real estate is becoming more of what it truly is again, a long-term asset where over the course of time, you can expect anywhere from 3 to 7 to 8%. So I don't think buying a house necessarily today is going to allow you to, a smaller priced home today will allow you in 3 years to just upgrade to this $500,000 place. But here's what it does. Okay. One, you're paying it off. You're getting principal pay down. You don't get that as a renter. Principal pay down just means every payment that I make, and in the beginning it sucks, it's very little, but it's still little, is I'm paying down my interest, right? I'm paying down my principal. Okay, that's number one.
If you make one extra mortgage payment a year, you
huge difference.
diminish your mortgage from 30 years to 17 and a half. Go ahead.
There you go. Boom. Right? Then the second thing, and this is often missed, the tax benefits, right? There's a lot of tax benefits that come with it, right? You're going to write off interest. And I'm not a CPA, so I won't go down this rabbit hole, right? But yeah, you are. You get tax advantages. He's like looking at me.
No, it's just expensive.
Yeah.
It's just property tax.
Yeah.
I'm
Well-
not being a joke here, What do you mean there's tax
So
benefits to having a
So
house?
tax benefits, every year, right, as a team, right, we just did it this year. We send you your Alta statement, right, your closing statement. On your closing statement, you take that to your CPA. He's going to do his little calculations, right? And any interest that you're incurring, right, there's some type of kickback to it, right? So the tax advantages come from that. Is it $350,000 that you're writing off that year? Of course not. It's probably $1,600, $1,800, right? 25, depending on your size. But as a renter, you don't get that, okay? But this is the cool thing, Dan. This is where this might make sense for you and the rest of the people. Buy a piece of shit. Buy a piece of shit, live in it. That's what I did. And then fix it up, right?
Yeah.
Fix it up. Now you're building equity.
Yeah.
Building equity always makes sense. So just go out there, get a low-priced home, and live in it a few years, pay it down, take some tax benefits, improve it, and then take that money, right? And then don't forget, primary residence, if you're a single person, you write off up to a $250,000 capital gain. If you're married, up to a $500,000 capital gain. So you're not going to pay taxes as long as it's your primary home.
Mm.
Boom!
You've given me a lot to think about.
Good. Buy a house, man. 2024, the next 6 months, it's going to be great. Come summertime, I think things could be different. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I'd like to see rates stay where they're at.
Yeah, where do you see things going in the next 5? Okay, where do you see things going in the next 5 years? Randy, hit me with it.
I can tell you values are going to continue to rise because we're making more and more people. And we're not making a ton of houses, and we're not making a whole lot more land either.
Yeah.
I don't know who's making the land. So
Yeah. I think what you're going to see is what I said earlier, is real estate is likely going to be a long-term asset. What scares me is I don't know if my son will own a home. That's probably for another podcast, but
You leave him.
home
you leave him a home.
ownership. Home ownership's under attack a little bit, right? Low inventory, high interest rates. You've got, BlackRock, Vanguard, First Street, all these people taking billions and billions of dollars to buy homes. So use that as your signal too, though. Buy a house. Be like them.
If
Follow the
they're,
money.
if everybody's doing it.
Well, there's some truth in that.
No,
I'm going to be honest. There really is some truth in that,
Get well, getting's good,
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
anything. Cool,
Yeah.
guys. We survived the first episode
Woohoo!
of the Stransky and Company podcast. I'm so proud of you guys, and I don't think I could have done it without you in life. I'm just kidding. That was pretend. All right. I'm not emotional at all. Take it easy, guys. We had a lot of fun, and we'll see you next
Sure
time.
did.
see you guys.
See you guys. Take care.